Hello my loves and welcome to today's reading vlog. I am so excited to get back into the swing of things when it comes to my reading and my reading vlogs. I kind of fell off the bandwagon in December. Life as it does kind of just got in the way, but I'm really excited to just get back into it. I'm excited about the books that I'm going to be reading this year. I haven't set myself a TBR because I am just a massive mood reader, so setting a TBR doesn't really make much sense for me because 9 times out of 10 I am probably not actually going to stick to it, which is fine. Like, if you don't stick to your TBR, that's not a problem, like absolutely not a problem whatsoever. I just feel like it doesn't really make sense if I know I'm probably not going to stick to it. That's why I usually do like seasonal TBRs, because then I can have a very wide variety to pick from and still feel like I've accomplished reading my TBR. But I haven't done a winter TBR. I generally don't know what I would put on it. I just have no idea what I'm in the mood for recently. But what I did want to do is give a reading update on what I am currently reading. If you watched my previous video, my end of year wrap up, then at the end I did mention what I was currently reading, and that is The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien, which is the first book in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Okay, so I am 128 pages in so far, and I'm really enjoying it. I totally understand why it's not for everybody and why some people do struggle with Tolkien's writing. He is a bit of a rambler. He can go into quite a bit of possibly unnecessary detail for some things, but for me personally, I think it's all part of the charm, and I think it just adds to the whimsy of it all and the charm of the characters and the charm of the world that he's created. He goes into a lot of depth when it comes to like the history as well, and the background of characters and settings and races, I guess. Would they be called races? Yeah, like Hobbits is a race, right? This was a really just in the moment pickup for me. I did not plan on like reading it. Like, I didn't have it in my mind to be like, I want to read that soon. I've always wanted to pick up the Lord of the Rings books, and I've had the trilogy and I have the Hobbit. Like, I have them and I've had them for years, and I have read about 50% of the Hobbit, and I must say I struggled with the Hobbit, hence why it's kind of, I've put it down. I do plan to finish it and I do want to pick it back up, but I'm finding this, as in this book, a lot easier to read compared to The Hobbit. Maybe when I was reading The Hobbit I just wasn't in the right mindset for it and that's why I was struggling. I don't know. But I am finding The Fellowship of the Ring a much easier read compared to The Hobbit. This reading vlog could literally just be me reading Lord of the Rings. I don't know. Something that I do really want to do, I actually can't believe that I haven't done this yet. I really need to finish. Oh, it is so dusty. Oh, that's embarrassing. I really need to finish Percy Jackson and the Battle of the Labyrinth. Look how close I am to finishing it. I haven't picked this book up in a good like 6 months, possibly longer. I don't know. It's not that I'm not enjoying it. I don't know, like, I enjoy it when I read it, but it's just one of those reads where I'm just like, oh, I'll pick it up when I want to pick it up. I don't know. I know this is such a beloved series, and I get it. Like, I've been really enjoying the series. And I mean, come on, it's Greek mythology. I'm a sucker for Greek mythology. Oh, I'm so close. Literally, this is all I have left. Come on, girl. I can finish this. I can do it. And then that means I'll have one book left of the Percy Jackson. Well, I say one. Hasn't he recently released a new one? I think. But my main reason for wanting to read the Percy Jackson series is to then go on to the Heroes of Olympus, because I've heard that the Heroes of Olympus is like better. I don't know, but my main goal in this reading vlog is to finally finish Battle of the Labyrinth and make a good chunk of the way through Fellowship of the Ring, because there are some books on my radar that I do really want to pick up. Let's have a little looky. So if you watched my autumn book haul TBR video, then you would have seen some of these books already. But there is a new book that I recently picked up that I really, really want to get to because I've just heard phenomenal things about it. And that is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. Now, one of my kind of reading goals for 2025 is to try and venture out of fantasy a little bit more. Don't get me wrong, we all love fantasy for a reason, right? It's because it's a great way for escapism and, you know, to enter worlds where there's magic, you know, fairies and wizards and all that fun stuff. But I also really think it's important to read stories that do reflect the real world. So I want to branch out a little bit, read a bit more general fiction. Is that what this genre is? I'm not too sure, but I've heard brilliant things about this book. It's been on my radar for quite some time. It got Book of the Year. I don't know what year, but it got Book of the Year at some point. On that note, or a similar level, I really want to read Really Good Actually. And this is by Monica Hasey. I picked this up, one, because I thought the cover was kind of stunning. And again, it's kind of like a story that reflects the real world. Like, I feel like I could read this book and it be based off a true story, just from what I read from the back. I don't actually know what Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine is actually about. Literally all it says on the back is, Eleanor Oliphant leads a simple life. She wears the same clothes to work every day, eats the same meal deal for lunch every day, and buys the same 2 bottles of vodka to drink every weekend. Eleanor Oliphant is happy. Nothing is missing from her carefully timetabled existence, except sometimes everything. I literally could not tell you what this book is about, but that's so fine. That's so okay. And then Really Good Actually, it says on the back, Maggie's marriage has ended just 608 days after it started, but she's fine. She's doing really good, actually. Sure, she's alone for the first time and can't afford her rent, and her obscure PhD is going nowhere. But at the age of 29, Maggie is determined to embrace her new status as a surprisingly young divorcee. As Maggie throws herself headlong into the chaos of her first year of divorce, she soon finds herself questioning everything, including, why do we still get married? Did I fail before I even got started? And how many 4 a.m. delivery burgers do I need to eat until I am happy? So this one I think is more humorous than this one from the vibe that I'm getting. But yeah, at some point I would love to say this month, but we are on like the 14th of January, so I don't know how realistic that's going to be. In the next few weeks, I would love to get round to reading one of these. I have been yabbering. I am going to, I think, make a cup of tea and make way with one of these. Maybe, I should really just try and get through Percy Jackson. I think that's what I might do. I think I'm going to make a cup of tea and try and make some progress with this book because it keeps sitting and staring at me, and it needs to get done. It needs to be read. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, I'm gonna quickly talk about a big spoiler in this book, so please skip to this timestamp if you haven't read it and you don't want to know, because this is a big spoiler. I kind of want to cry. Okay, let me put you down. So, if you didn't know, one of the kind of subplot lines in the Percy Jackson series is around Grover, which is one of the trio. It's one of Percy Jackson's best friends, the Satyr, and his kind of personal mission is to find the missing god Pan. Oh my gosh, so they find him, right? And they find him in the Labyrinth, and the description of his cave is stunning. As someone who considers themselves a bit of an environmentalist, you know, I'm doing wildlife conservation. It's a passion of mine, and it's something that I hold very dearly, and it's very important to me. If you didn't know, Pan is like the god of nature. He is nature, okay? But let me just read this really quick. Okay. So Pan is basically dying, or like is pretty much dead, on his last breaths, right? And Grover's like, no babes, you can't die. And Pan's like, look, the damage to nature has been done. Like, it's been done. There's nothing I can do. The world has pretty much destroyed the wilderness. There is nothing left for me to rule. And this is his like last words. He goes, but my name Pan, originally it meant rustic. Did you know that? But over the years it has come to mean all. The spirit of the wild must pass to all of you now. You must tell each one you meet. If you would find Pan, take up Pan's spirit. Remake the wild a little at a time, each in your own corner of the world. You cannot wait for anyone else, even a god, to do that for you. And then Grover goes, I've spent my whole life looking for you. Now I release you. Pan smiled. Thank you, dear Satyr, my final blessing. He closed his eyes and the god dissolved. It just breaks my heart that when was this book written? When was this first published? 2008. 2008 this was published, and even then the concern of the deterioration of wildlife and nature was even being written into children's books. And we're in what, 2025 now, and what have we actually achieved in that time? It makes me sad. It makes me really, really sad. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, hopefully, fingers crossed. That hit somewhere quite deep in me. I think I'm gonna need to take a minute to process that. Okay. I just need to read this bit here as well. But gods can't die, Grover said. They can fade, Pan said. When everything they stood for is gone, when they cease to have power and their sacred place disappear. The wild, my dear Grover, is so small now, so shattered, that no god can save it. My realm is gone. That is why I need you to carry a message. You must go back to the council. You must tell the satyrs and the dryads and the other spirits of nature that the great god Pan is dead. Tell them of my passing, because they must stop waiting for me to save them. I cannot. The only salvation you must make yourself. I actually need a minute. So I just did something absolutely hilarious. I recorded a reading update for you, and I forgot to flip my camera around, so I was yapping the whole time and my camera was faced the wrong way. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to do that all over again. I was even talking about, I had my first sip of tea, and I was even saying, oh, don't you think the first sip of tea is always the best sip? And I still stand by that comment. It's just now this isn't my first sip of tea. This is like my fourth. What I was yapping on about in that clip that you couldn't even see me in is the fact that I have finished Percy Jackson and the Battle of the Labyrinth. I finished it this morning. I rated it 4 out of 5 star on Goodreads. I think it's like a 3.75. It's like sitting in that area for me. I don't really have anything big to say about it, if that makes sense. So I had a really good time with it. Just like every other Percy Jackson book that I have read, I've been really, really enjoying them. I feel like this book, we had a lot happen, and we had a lot of progress happen in this book. A lot of character development, a lot of story and plot progress. A lot happens in this book, and I had a really good time with it. Especially, I mean, it's taken me a hot minute to get through this book, not because I wasn't enjoying it or that the writing was bad or anything like that. I think I was just trying to pick it up at times where I wasn't really feeling it, I guess, but I still really, really enjoyed it. One character that has really taken my interest is Nico. He has really sparked my interest. We see a lot more of him in this book, and we get a lot more of his character and his character development in this book. And I'm very excited because one, if I think he's gonna be quite a big part of the next book, which I thought was the last book, but I'm pretty sure Rick Riordan released the 6th book, or has written a 6th book. I think it came out like last year or this year or something like that. So I thought I was near the end of the series, but the next kind of series within the Percy Jackson universe is the Heroes of Olympus, and I'm pretty sure that follows Nico, which I'm very excited about because one, I think they're older, which I think maybe one of the reasons I'm semi-struggling is because of the age of our characters. They're like Harry Potter, we meet them when they're, I want to say like 12, 11, 12, I want to say. And just because they are so young, I can't relate to them as much, if that makes sense. I struggle to put myself into this world because the characters we're reading about are vastly younger than me. And that's not a bad thing. It's just, I guess I'm not connecting as deeply as I would say if they were my age. So, but then again, people in their mid-20s don't go to summer camp as a camper. So even then, the camp, what are they called, camp counsellors? I don't know, camp isn't really a thing here in the UK, but I guess the camp counsellors, even then, they're like 18. I think that may be one of the main reasons why I'm not flying through these books, but that doesn't mean they're not good books. It doesn't mean I'm not enjoying them. I'm still having such a good time. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the story progresses, how it continues, where it's going to go, what's going to happen. It has really ramped up in this book. So much happened. So, you know, a big climax is coming, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. And I definitely want to read more of Rick Riordan's work because he's written quite a few series. Like, he's done a whole series based on Egypt mythology. He's done a whole series based on Norse mythology. Or the Trials of Apollo? Who does that follow? What? The more I think about it, the more I actually am enjoying these books. I think maybe I was just trying to read them when I wasn't actually in the mood for them. Yeah. And sometimes, I can't lie, Percy and Annabeth kind of annoy me. They kind of annoy me a little bit. I don't dislike them as characters. I don't know. I'm happy. I won't be disappointed when their story wraps up. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. 3.75/4 out of 5 stars. I had a good time, really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to continuing on the series. When I'll do that, I'm not 100% sure. But I'm excited about it. My copies. Where did I put the other books? No, actually, what? Oh, they're right. They're right here, right in front of me. Literally, I looked at the pile and I was like, why is The Last Olympian the only book there? Where did I put the other 3 books? Literally right under my nose. Okay, cool. My copies of these books are absolutely battered, like cracked spine. My Battle of Labyrinth is just, I mean, it means they've been read and loved, right? If I'm really that fussed by it, I may rebuy the series. I don't know, I'll see how I feel. That means I can crack on with the Fellowship of the Ring. I don't know how quickly I'm going to get through this. I really don't know. And because of that, I'm tempted to start reading another book alongside this, but if I do that, then there is very much the chance that I will just abandon this book, which I really don't want to do because I am really enjoying it. But I don't know how long this book is going to take me. So it's kind of, I don't know what I think, because I've heard this is quite an intimidating book. It's like I'm trying to tell myself I should be intimidated by it, but I'm not, but I feel like I should be. I don't know if that makes any sense whatsoever. Probably doesn't. Yeah, maybe, Victoria, maybe I should just crack on with it. Why am I trying to intimidate myself out of this book? Maybe I should just crack on with it. But I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my fantasy reading playlist on. I'm going to drink my tea. And I'm going to read some more Fellowship of the Ring because that's what I want to do. And I need to stop telling myself I should be intimidated by it because it's not that intimidating of a book. Hey, so for you it's been a split second, but for me it's been a fair few days since I last updated this vlog. I think the last time I spoke to you I was on like page 120 of Fellowship of the Ring. I have not made much progress. I am now on page 166. That is mostly because I've just had some personal stuff going on. Kind of it's the reason why I am currently home right now. I don't want to, one, abandon this vlog, and also I don't want to abandon this book. But what I thought I would do is give you my current thoughts and feelings on the Fellowship of the Ring and how we're doing with it. I have just met a character called Tom Bombadil, who is someone that isn't in the movies. So I am very intrigued by this character because I don't know anything about him. He seems quite fun and quite intriguing. He's giving very much Spirit of the Wood vibes. Like, he is one with the woods, and there are two themes that Tolkien seems to love to talk about and explore. The first one is friendship. Friendship is very obviously, I mean, if you've seen the movies or read the books, friendship is such a core theme in his stories, not just Lord of the Rings but The Hobbit as well. The second theme is nature, specifically trees. This man loves to talk about trees. He loves to describe trees. He loves to describe the scenery of the forest. And if he gets the chance to talk about a tree or put a tree description in the book, he's going to do it. And as someone who loves nature, I am all here for it. I'm down for it. Give me all the tree descriptions. But if that's the kind of thing you don't enjoy, this might not be the book for you, because Tolkien loves a tree. He loves a tree. Considering that this is a high fantasy novel, at the moment, this book is very character driven. We are learning a lot about our characters, mostly, I was going to say Bilbo, not Bilbo, mostly Frodo, Sam, Pippin and Merry, our four boys. Our four boys. Something that did throw me off was I didn't quite realise how old Frodo is in the book, because obviously in the movie he is played by Elijah Wood, and in the movie Sam and Frodo seem like a similar age, whereas in the book Frodo is older than Sam. He is Sam's, I don't want to say elder, but he's older than Sam from like a decent amount. Like, he is like the generation above Sam. I feel like I'm reading about a different Frodo. I feel like the Frodo in the book is quite different to the Frodo we get in the films, which is quite nice, because I feel like even though I've seen the movie and I know where the plot's going, it's still like I'm reading a new story and I'm not just getting the same thing from the movie. I'm still experiencing something new, which is really nice. And I am liking Frodo in the book a lot more than the Frodo in the movie. Like, Frodo in the book is asking all the correct questions. This poor man did not ask for any of this. at all. He has been thrown into this situation completely against his own will, and he is asking all the correct questions, but people are just refusing to answer them. And he is getting so frustrated, and I do not blame him. I do not blame him in the slightest. At the moment, we are very character driven, which is really, really nice. I am just now waiting for the plot to kick in. I don't know how soon that's going to be. It took over 100 pages to leave the Shire. It took over 100 pages to leave the Shire. So we have literally only just entered the Dark Forest. Yeah, and we've had our first kind of intense, I say intense, a tree tried to eat Mary and Pippin. And Tom Bombadil basically came and saved the day. So we haven't had anything quite intense happen yet, but it's starting to, like, the plot is now starting to kick in a little bit. It's just taken us about 150 pages to get there. So I really want to make a dent in this and kind of see when the plot ramps up. That was just a quick update for you. I am hoping, I would love to get to like the halfway point. Ooh, that's a good 100 pages. And the text is very small. So I don't know how realistic that goal is, but we'll have to wait and see. I honestly think I may end this vlog here, more just because I don't realistically know how much I'm gonna have to update you, and I really want to get this vlog uploaded. So I do think this vlog had some decent progress. I finished a book and I have made somewhat progress with the next one. Hopefully in the next vlog I will have more of an in-depth update on this book. I just got to feel, I don't want to force myself to rush it. You know, I really want to sit in it and enjoy it. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I am going to end the vlog here. I'm sorry that it's quite short and sudden ending. I want to give you decent updates and I just don't have a big update for you right now. I really hope you enjoyed today's reading vlog. Please let me know down below what you're currently reading. I hope the start of your year is going well reading wise. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!